What's up, guys? It's Colin here on my second day of the 30-day challenge. Where I'm basically acting as if I'm going to die in 3 to 6 months and seeing how it changes my behavior. I don't want this title to be misleading because the title. I don't want it to be misleading. So I don't want the title to be misleading. Shooting this in front of a live studio audience. I have my roommate hanging out for some reason.
Watching you.
You guys want to be on the... Yeah. Anyway, back to the video.
Let's get back to it.
So I'm going to give you a quick recap of how the last 2 days have been. I'm going to tell you about the challenges I've come up with, and then I'm going to tell you about the breakthroughs that I've had for you. Basically, I've been on this challenge for 2 days so far, and I've just come across this discovery of how the certain conversations that I've been having, the uncomfortable ones, have actually been having this breakthrough. So I don't know, I'm not an expert on this matter, but this is something I've been experimenting with and experiencing through my 2 days of the challenge so far. So yesterday started out great. The first thing I did actually was I called one of my coworkers. I had some resentment towards him that I was feeling, and I really liked the guy, and then I noticed that I was resenting him, and I was like, what is that about? And I realized it was because he at one point was annoyed with me, and it was like a self-protection mechanism where I was making him wrong and I was annoyed with him. So I called him and I told him that whole thing. Another reason, which is I actually feel so stupid for like I'm like totally embarrassed and like feel so dumb about this, but I noticed that I was having like this experience of like I had a little bit of resentment towards you, which is so weird. It was so weird for me. It was because I felt like deep down I was sort of feeling embarrassed because I felt like I had sort of been a jackass at like Hall of Flowers. Like I got way too fucked up, and I really like value our relationship, and I really respect you, and I like have never felt that before, and so I really wanted to just clean it up with you. That feeling came up, and I'm not committed to that at all, because I'm committed to like us having like a smooth, like awesome relationship like we have been. The lesson here in this call was that I thought when I was talking to him, we were catching up and we were laughing, and like I was thinking, do I need to call him? Like, do I need to tell him about this? Because I think we're good. I think we're cool. I'm not feeling resentment towards him. He seems cool with me. And I was like, well, I got to do this anyway. And so I told him anyway. I was just like, hey man, I have something to clean up with you. And I said exactly what I just told you. And he was quiet at first, and I was like, oh fuck, like he's gonna think I'm crazy. And then he's like, man, I'm so glad you said that. Like, that's an interesting way to that's interesting, but it's like, I'm really impressed that you saw that whole thing through. And he's like, it was true, I was annoyed with you. So then the call was over, and I realized that I had this burst of energy, and it was like, there was like something that was inside my psyche or my energy or something that I had like let go of and disappeared by having this conversation with him. And it created this flow of energy that I didn't know was there before, that wasn't being used. And so it was such an amazing feeling to have that, like, wow, I did something I was afraid of, and it flowed up this energy. And not only that, but our relationship now is like, I could feel at the end we were just a layer deeper and more connected than we were, that probably have ever been before, because we like went through that tough period. So on to today, day 2, it's been actually pretty challenging. I've noticed that instead of being present, I'm constantly calculating how I'm going to create videos, how I'm going to like tell a story, like what I'm doing for the challenge, how I'm gonna make it entertaining. And so I've just decided to, I need to put all that aside and really just be present, and how challenging that is, because I notice how much I want to look good, and I want to like be posting interesting stuff, not lose the attention of people, and all this stuff, so that's just nonsense, I realized. So that's been the biggest challenge so far. And then I had the conversation with my aunt. I couldn't figure out what to do or what kind of conversation, and I realized there was me and my aunt are very cool. We're not very close, but I cleaned something up with her about when she went through this chemotherapy and cancer, like I never really reached out to her, and I'd always felt like guilty about that. And so I called her and we caught up, and we were like really cool on the phone. And then I told her that back when you were going through chemotherapy and stuff, and like, one, I apologize for not showing support, and that it was kind of, I think at the time, like, it's a shitty excuse, but like how I dealt with that was like not to think about it, or not to like reach out or support, or think at the time that I wouldn't have been any help. Want to acknowledge that I didn't do that for you, and I kind of regret not being there in that way for you. And like, I just want you to know that it didn't mean that I wasn't there for you or thinking about you. And after I told her that, she was like, oh, it's no big deal. Like, I didn't even think about that. Like, it's all good. I really appreciate it. And then there was some nuances, and maybe it's just me, but there was nuances in how we were communicating afterwards that we were instantly a layer deeper in our connection. Like, we were now, have you ever been on a connection with somebody on like a sports team where you've been through some shit and you've gone, like you've fought to the championship or whatever, and you've been through stuff with your comrades and your teammates, and there's some unspoken connection you guys have because of that sort of battle and that conflict that you've overcome together. It was exactly like that. It was like we had been through something by clearing the space, by clearing this up and having like a real direct conversation, and we basically like leveled up or deepened our connection one layer deeper. Like I don't know, there's no way to measure it, but I could just feel it as the conversation was ending. Like, wow, we're like homies. That's what I've got so far, and thanks for tuning in. I love you. Thanks for watching. Love you guys.